Hi, Tim here from Proclaim AV, and today we're taking a look at the Yamaha MG10 mixer. Let's check it out. Okay, so we'll start at the top by looking at the input and output section of this Yamaha MG10. So right away you'll notice that we have kind of an odd looking jack here if you're used to regular audio equipment, and that's because it's a combo jack, so it will take either the XLR or it'll take a 1/4-inch plug right in the center. And so it does both types, and it lets them not have to put two different types on the board. That's because it will take either mic or line level. So you'll notice here at the top that there's a mic line right there. And then there's also a pad. So if you're putting a line level signal into it, the pad will reduce it by 26 dB. I don't know if you can still hear me, maybe just a little bit. So that does do quite a bit of reduction. So you're not clipping the gain stage or the input when you're plugging in a line level, which is the much hotter signal than a mic level signal. Now over on this side, we have some stereo inputs. You'll notice that on channels 5, 6, 7, 8 here, that you also have RCA options. So if you'd rather do RCA inputs instead of doing something like 1/4-inch inputs, then that is available. But 910 is only the 1/4-inch inputs right there for channel 910. Then over here, you'll see we have an aux send. That is the output for your aux mix, and we'll look at that in a minute. There's a monitors out. That is ganged together with the phones out. So there's a headphone jack and a monitors out jack. Those are not separate on this board. And there's a 1 volume control for them. It is down here. So this volume control is the control for both headphones, which is here, and the left-right monitor output. Next, we have a stereo out. I'm using the XLR stereo out, but there's also 1/4-inch stereo out, and those are both driven by the stereo out main knob down here. So that's the master volume for both of those stereo outs, the XLR one and the 1/4-inch. Now let's take a look at a little bit of channel 1, 2 here at the top. Well, I'll notice first at the top there's a high pass filter. It says HPF 80 Hertz. So that will roll off any bass frequencies lower than 80 Hertz when you press the button down for that channel. And we already talked about what the pad does. Then each channel has a gain knob. All 4 mic channels, that is, have a gain knob. And so gain just controls the first signal coming into the board. How much signal are we getting? So if I am on this mic and I turn the gain down, then I'll get quieter, and I turn the gain back up, I'll get louder again. So it's important to set your gain well on the board. When you do that, then things will work nicely. Now on only channels 1 and 2, there is a comp, which is a 1-knob compressor. And what that does is it pulls down sounds that are too loud automatically. So if you set this at about 12 o'clock, and then if I get rowdy and I start shouting, it automatically pulls volumes down so that they don't get as loud as they could get. Now, there's a lot in a 1-knob compressor, and I have a video about compressors and gates for live sound, so go over and check that out if you want to learn more about how a 1-knob compressor works. And check with your manual, different 1-knob compressors work differently. So if you're watching this and this is a Yamaha, but you have a Mackie, make sure you check and see how it works on your board. Now, we do have phantom power right here, and it is only for channels 1 through 4. So that's good. If I press the button, phantom power will come on, and if you have condenser microphones, you'll need to have this phantom power turned on, and it'll send it to all 4 channels up here at the top. Send it to all 4 mic channels automatically. It will not send it to any of your stereo channels right here. And that's good because there are some people out here that are buying this cable that drives me crazy that has two XLR jacks, and then the other end of it is an 1/8" headphone jack. And what happens is when phantom power is turned on, you can send phantom power back down that line and into the headphone jack of your laptop or your phone, and you can fry the electronics in that because that's 48 volts of power coming back down that line. So if you're going to plug in stereo devices like that, use these stereo inputs here. Do not use some sort of converter cable for these mic inputs. Okay, now let's take a look at the EQ section here. Now you'll notice that 1 through 4 have an additional mid-range EQ, but that the stereo inputs only have high and low EQ settings. Now, on the high EQ, that's 10,000 hertz. So I'll kind of twist it over. That's, ooh, crispy. That's 10,000 hertz. And then if you cut it, then it starts sounding a little muffled. Okay, so when it's in the upright position where it's straight up and down, the signal is just flowing straight through. We're not doing anything. We're not adding to it. We're not taking away from it. So then there's a mid-range EQ. The mid-range EQ on this is, let me look here, 2.5 kilohertz or 2500 hertz. So if we boost it, it sounds like that. And if we cut it, we gut all the important frequencies out of our voice. So be very careful with that you're not cutting a bunch of 2.5 here with this board. It can really make people sound terrible. So, and then the low is at 100, so I can cut the low so we don't hear that, and it's not as drastic because we've already put on the low pass filter, or high pass filter rather. Or we can boost the low and that'll add some low frequencies into our signal. The next one down is your aux mix, and we showed you earlier that there's an aux mix jack up here at the top. And so that is where the mix that you create with the aux row comes out. So if you want to plug in a monitor, you plug it in here, and then you can go down here into your aux mix, and you can pick how much of each microphone did you want in that aux mix. I want less or more, and that all will be determined by this. So it is its own separate mix. It is different than what's happening down here. So that's really nice to have. Then you do have a pan control. So that's the left and that's the right. And all you commenters who love to fact check my left, right, make sure you do that. And then take off your headphones and make sure you're looking at the right, left. One of my other videos, I do have it backwards. Is this one backwards? Comment down below. Anyway, sorry, I couldn't help myself. And then finally here is our row of knobs for our main mix. So that's everything that is going out on the stereo level and coming out on the XLR or these stereo out jacks here. So this again is just you set how much of each microphone that you want to go into that mix. Now next to that is a peak light right here, and that will light up if you're overdriving the channel. So let me attempt to do that without blasting your ears. So stand by. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Well, that worked. So the thing you have to remember is if that peak light is coming on, that's not good. You don't want that much gain. And so the thing to do is turn the gain down if your peak light is lighting up. Come up here and change your gain level. Now that's only through channels 1 through 4. The rest of the channels don't have a gain control and they don't have a peak light. So it's just 1 through 4. And that lets you know if you're getting too much signal in. And if that peak light is on, you're probably hearing some distortion. If you've just plugged in a line level signal and your peak light is on and your gain's all the way down, remember you can come up here and you can grab one of these pad 26 decibel pads, and that'll bring that signal down so it's a more manageable range within the range of your gain knob. So that's important to know. Anyway, that is the Yamaha MG10. I did forget to mention that there's a meter on this. It kind of shows the level of signal coming out of left, right. And honestly, we're running this pretty quietly because I'm putting it into my interface. But in a normal situation, you could expect to be bumping into at the 0 right here where the little arrows are, and just occasionally hitting that, and you would be in good shape for your mixer. Hey, I hope that was helpful. The Yamaha is a solid little mixer, and I'm hoping that by watching this video, you've learned something new about your Yamaha MG10. Thanks for watching.